I was wondering what it takes to get people completely outraged so that they actually get off their backsides and do something. It does seem that it takes a lot these days. I interviewed a chap yesterday called Gary Waterman. He's a former policeman, and he was revealing a huge scandal that involves the government and Companies House, and how companies have been trading fraudulently by changing their name somewhat. And these links and the evidence that he's got in his own on his own YouTube channel show all sorts of heads of government, big heads of department, big companies, that they've all been trading fraudulently, and this is reflected in our tax. We've seen how the government, for example, in and of itself has been sending tax money overseas to war zones. And I haven't asked for them, and many people have told me they haven't asked for the government to do this. They've just said, no, we're doing it. We've seen them getting involved in all sorts of shenanigans. We've seen with the PPE so much backhanded contracts with one another, with friends. We've seen this throughout history, and we hear about it, and of course the mainstream media now no longer report on these things. They want us to believe other things. We've seen how the implementation of a global medical intervention has been persuaded on people, and people have been injected. We've seen how people are dropping down dead all of a sudden, unexpectedly, and yet this strange stuff is being drawn out of their veins after death. And the government have been questioned about this, and of course they say no, safe and effective. MPs have pushed back when anybody has written to them about it. It does seem strange, I think, that we've become so conditioned now that actually, you know, you can be as outrageous and say all sorts of things about, I don't know, let's say paedophilia and child abuse. And you can say that certain people in authority have been connected with it. And people go, oh yes, it's bad, isn't it? It's bad. Oh yes. What's for dinner, love? Have we got sausages and mash? It's as if people, they like to be outraged by a certain amount of this stuff, but they don't want to do anything. We've become so dumb, haven't we, that instead of sticking up for our country. I mean, I go for a walk every now and again and I look round at the architecture, and it's terrible. It's drab, it's utilitarian, it's functional. It doesn't inspire. We see farms being ploughed up and then, or rather dug up and covered in concrete, and bricks, and new houses are being shoved in. And we go, oh, that's bad, isn't it? And we meet up in our little enclaves with our friends and go, oh dear, over a cup of tea and a bourbon biscuit. And we say, oh, have you seen they're doing some more new builds? Oh, it's bad, isn't it? It used to be lovely. I used to play over there. But we're not riled up enough, it seems to me, to actually make a difference. People go, well, what can we do? What can one little person do? And that is the question. I think we're coming to that point now that unless we actually do something, then we are in a bit of a pickle. Somebody sent me a picture of a sticker. I thought it was great. It was a sticker for the 5G towers. People are aware that the 5G towers are not safe, that they radiate out and are causing problems with people's mental attitude, their brain, and of course it may link up with activating something that's been pumped into certain people across the world, and these frequencies are bad. So this sticker was looked very official. And it said 5G on it, and it said danger. And then it said on it all the various things that might happen: fever, headaches, memory loss, all those sort of things, lack of sleep, things that are affecting us. It said, you know, not fit for humans, stand well back. And I thought that's what we need, is a campaign, isn't it? A campaign where these stickers that look very official are slapped on all of these bits of equipment, so that the public, those people who have yet to wake up, would see those stickers, think that they're official and go, oh dear, why are they installing this dangerous technology? This sort of thing could easily happen. And just as they try to take them off, more people will be slapping them on, because ultimately we don't want this technology that is actually there to damage us. We don't want politicians who are there to fleece us. We don't want the judicial system to be corrupt and working with the council, bias and kangaroo courts. We don't want to see the pictures of poor, innocent and vulnerable people being ejected from their houses. We don't want to see a system in which these people think that they are above us and somehow that they have the law to be able to treat us badly. And we don't want to see the huge amount of corruption and fraud that's going on. But I do wonder what it will take from people to actually get up and do something about it instead of go, oh dear. I wonder what time Coronation Street's on. I think I'll go and do some knitting, and just put their head back in the sand. Surely the time is approaching when it is so vital that people stand up for themselves. They stand in their sovereignty. They stand under their own rights. They correct the standing and they say no more of this. This time it's gone too far. It's over. I think that time is actually happening. I think people are slowly beginning to realise, and I think we're going to see some massive changes this year. I think this is only the beginning of these revelations, and I think people will be forced to look at what is happening and say to themselves, I cannot put my head in the sand any longer. I must do something about this before it's all too late.